honoring the soil, preserving soil, and creating good soil, you are working directly with your ancestors. Hail and welcome. I'm Matt Sargent, and this is IWA's Initiations, Episode 2. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, subscribe. That way you don't miss a future episode. So today we're going to dig into the first part of the ecological garden, and that's the soil. So when I say dig in, it is an intentional pun. Hopefully you laughed. If not, I totally understand. Couple things about soil. One, it reminds me, if you want more frequent updates from me, more insight into gardening, land stewardship, and spirituality, follow me on Instagram at Soil Shaman, right there. Two, the topic of soil is really deep. There are entire books written all about just soil health. It's way more than we can cover in one episode. So my goal for today is to show you how honoring the soil is honoring your ancestors, and a sacrifice you can make to a special deity, one of the deities of the north, that will really improve your soil health. We will be talking about soil more in future episodes. We'll be talking about all sorts of strategies to maintain and preserve good, healthy soil that will sustain the eco garden, will help nourish your food, nourish the biological communities around you, and further honor the ancestors and the gods. As far as honoring the ancestors, what the hell does soil have to do with that? Couple things. One, most of our ancestors were agrarian at some point. So working in the soil, toiling, producing your own food, that in and of itself honors the ancestors. But an overlooked thing about soil is all of our ancestors are now part of the earth. Their decayed remains are in the ground, whether they were cremated or buried. They are now part of the earth. So by honoring the soil, preserving soil, and creating good soil, you are working directly with your ancestors. So this bed that I'm sitting in right now, this will be a future production zone for the garden that I'm establishing. My garden is very young. We just moved onto this land in February. It's now September. I didn't even get to start working on the garden plot until late June. Really busy fixing up the house, making it as habitable as possible for my family. So this is all a side project. It's my zen, my place of peace and calm. It's my Hof, but I don't get to focus my energy here, and I'm really preparing it for abundance in the coming years. If you look at the Yarrow rune, right now I'm planning and preparing for next year's harvest. And I'm doing that by growing this crop, and this right here is a mixture of rye, hairy vetch, and these little guys right here with the broadleaves. This is called daikon clover, or not clover, daikon radish. And this is a cover crop that I'm going to be making a sacrifice of to a deity to improve the soil. Any guesses as to who that deity is? You're right, it's Hela. Bet you thought I was going to say Freyr, maybe his sister Freya. No. As I mentioned, soil is a very complex thing, and good soil has a very evolved cycle of life and death, and it's the living and dying of organisms that's cycling nutrients, creating soil tilth, and promoting the good structure for healthy plant growth. So what I have done is I've put in the labor to grow this healthy crop. This one's not quite ready yet. We're going to take a look at the uphill terrace, which I am going to sacrifice today to Hela. So that was a great depiction of Hela. As you see, she's often depicted as, half of her body being blue or black, decaying, and the other half being vibrant and lively. perfect duality of life and death, and that's what the soil is all about. It's a cycle of living and dying, and the cycling of nutrients that way. So we're going to take a look at a cover crop of rye and vetch that I am terminating, and how to terminate it and sacrifice it to Hela to help establish good, healthy soil. To terminate this cover crop, and it's really important when I talk about cover crops, I'm talking about an annual crop that produces a lot of biomass that then you sacrifice to Hela. You could do that with an herbicide. I don't recommend it. The studies are kind of mixed on whether or not they reside in the soil. I honor my ancestors. They didn't have access to the herbicides, and by putting a little bit of sweat into the sacrifice to Hela, it makes it more powerful. Plus, with this handy tool that anyone can make at home, it's really easy to terminate a cover crop and cheaper than buying herbicides repeatedly. This is a 2x4 with a piece of angle iron bolted on and a rope that allows me to have my arm extended, put my foot on it, and just walk down and basically lay the cover crop down. As it pushes it down, this angle iron crimps the stalks of the cover crop, so this is good for grasses like rye or legumes like vetch that grow up tall and long. If you're using buckwheat, it doesn't really work so well. You might want to mow that really low to terminate it. But the big thing is, and what I'm trying to get at, is that we're growing something with the intent of sacrificing it for the benefit of all. So this is what we were just stomping down with that homemade crimper that I showed you how to make. You can see how it's a beautiful mulch. Mulch is a great way to protect the soil. It helps prevent compaction from rain events. It provides habitat and nutrients for the soil microbiology, and the rotting roots that are left over from the plant in the ground, as they decay, they become soil. It's a way to honor Hela, honor your ancestors. In much of the country, even right now, there's plenty of time to plant a cover crop. So go ahead and go plant a cover crop. You can even pick something that'll winter kill. You don't have to terminate it. If you have questions about that, let me know. Leave a comment and I can make good suggestions based off of where you say you're located. But the whole point is to intentionally grow something for Hela. Sacrifice it to her. When you do, you'll find that you have a greater connection with her. It'll make you a more rounded spiritual heathen. If you're not a northern heathen and you're a pagan in general, you can do it to whatever goddess or god of death that you desire. Hopefully I don't have to spell out the analogies, and you can just see how this type of practice can benefit your pagan spiritual path. Until next time, honor your ancestors, honor the Lamvatir, and honor the gods. This is Matt Sargent signing off.